The 5th best attacking operator for entry fragging is going to be Ashe. Now, if you want to play Ashe and you want to do something with Ashe, you can do that something on any other operator in the game and do it better. You want range soft breach, play Zofia. You want a 3-speed with a good weapon, play IQ, Maverick, Capitao, and many others. If you want the G36C, play Yana. There's really no reason to play Ashe because any piece of utility that you'd want to bring, you can bring on somebody else and bring more utility. That being said, if you do pick her though, she's still a good pick. Her ranged projectiles blow up a lot bigger than Zofia's, so if you're wanting to play vertical play with her while still running one of her great weapons, you can do so. Also, being able to destroy deployable shields and then run in the objective immediately after is very powerful. Even if you don't want to do all of that, she's still a 3-speed and she brings the R4C, baby. This thing is an absolute monster of a weapon. Most people just play Ashe for this weapon, to be completely honest, and they buffed its recoil, so there's no more recoil and you can hit some nasty flicks just like this one. With that being said, if you just want to run and gun and have some fun, Ashe is definitely your operator to play. But as we go up on this top 5 list, you'll see the same amount of fun and the same amount of gun skill, but with more utility and more reliableness. Is reliableness a word? I don't think reliableness is a word. Whatever, you get the idea. Before I continue this list, I just want to say that Zofia would normally be on my top 5 for entry fraggers as per usual, but she's a 3 armor, so I don't really think I can consider her a fragger anymore. She has cool utility, she has a great weapon to be a fragger, but I mean, Ace also has a great weapon to be a fragger, and he's not a fragger, he's a support, right? And her utility isn't to get frags, it's to help the team, right? So I'd honestly consider her a flex. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. If you consider her a fragger though, replace her with Ashe and we'll just continue the top 5 from here. Coming into my number 4 spot is going to be Glaz. Glaz is one of those operators where the more you know how to play him and the better gun skill you have, the better he's just going to be. Now you can say that for really any operator in the entire game, but with Glaz it's different because you have the range on him, you're able to see through smokes, you have the utility to back it up, he's a 3-speed, and he also has a secondary sidearm to complement his sniper because it's automatic, as well as having the option to bring a gun 6. So he has a lot of utility just for bringing a sniper, and there's only 4 operators that have frag grenades in this entire game anymore, and he's one of them. So that is another reason that he is super valued. As long as you're able to hit shots with Glaz, he's actually pretty newer player friendly. What I would do is I would equip the red dot C, I'd equip the muzzle brake and the vertical grip, and there shouldn't be much recoil as long as you're able to control it pretty reliably. As Glaz, most of the times you can just sit outside of the objective on maps like Coastline or Console where there's a lot of windows that lead directly into sight, but if there isn't, you can still just sit in long hallways or hold really tight pixel peaks to get the job done. One of the best ways to get good at Glaz is just to go into deathmatch and play him a bunch, because it's the only way that you can shoot actual players as Glaz over and over again reliably, other than just playing the game normally, and you can actually get very good at Glaz doing this very quickly. Something that I would also recommend is you don't always have to be scoped in as Glaz. You can unscope yourself and have those close range gunfights that you would normally take with your bearing 9, but with a sniper that can 2-tap people, so it's something I definitely recommend you learn how to do. That being said, I want to talk about a key point that a lot of you are going to disagree with, and that is 9 times out of 10, don't bring smoke grenades. Now, it's cool to be able to see through smokes, but most players in the higher elo, whenever they know you're playing a Glaz and they see you smoke, are just not going to peek the smoke, right? And if they do, they're probably just playing Warden because of how common he is. So what I would do is I would just take the frag grenades, right? That way you don't need the Gon 6 and you can have the bearing 9 as your sidearm and have a lot more reliable gunfights. Now, if you are in the mid to low elo, I'd say plat and below, people still peek smokes, so then you can bring the smokes and play behind them. If you want to get into smoke, sit still, and get kills, Glaz is your operator. Coming into my number 3 spot may not be who you expect, and it's actually going to be Ying. Yes, Ying is an entry fragger if you play her correctly. Now, in the higher elo, you could kind of consider her a flex, but even then you're still the first one that's running in whenever you do use her utility like a flex operator, so I still would just consider her a entry operator for ranked purposes. But essentially, in the lower elo, or if you're getting new to Ying, you just use her Ying candelas like flash grenades. With candelas, you can actually stick them through surfaces like through floors, through windows, through barricades, etc., and you can flash the other side of whatever you're sticking your candela to. These things also have a charge period where you charge them more and more so that the flash grenade activates earlier. If you don't charge them at all and you throw them out, they're going to roll for a very long time and then activate. So do with that information what you will. This being said, you have 4 of these candelas paired with your LMG with a 1.5 times scope, very little recoil, and a 50 round LMG mag, as well as 2 smoke grenades. You can easily pick apart the defense and use an LMG to clean it up later. Ying is easily one of the most underrated attackers in the entire game, and anytime that I go against a Ying in ranked, I want to blow my brains out. One of the coolest things about Ying is she is completely immune to her own flashes. So what you can do, you can throw those flashes in there and immediately swing off of them, because defenders are either A, going to be blind, or 2, they're going to have their back turned to you because they're just going to run away from your flashes, right? This brings me on to my second point with Ying. Most players in the higher elo are just going to run away from your flashes, so you can't really use her to try to blind people. You have to use her to get defenders to run away from where they are, so you can kind of use her to take space. I talk about this with Lion. I have Lion guides, by the way. I'll put those in the top right here if you want to go check those out. But Lion, you activate his scanner, and you take space every time you activate his scanner to gain ground. You do the same thing with Ying Candelas, right? Because you have 4 of them, you can save 1 or 2 to take space, and then use 1 or 2 to flash into the site and get the bomb down. If you want also, because it's not really a plant-friendly meta, smokes won't do much if you're trying to plant, you can bring the hard breaching charges, baby. These things are awesome. You can get walls open, you can make it to where you don't need an ace. It's pretty cool. Ying's one of those operators that's pretty versatile, and I definitely recommend you pick her up if you haven't already. You will definitely catch the defenders by surprise and get yourself some free, easy ranked wins. Coming into my number 2 spot is definitely someone you're not going to expect, and that is going to be Nook. Now, the better you get and the higher elo you get, the more you start to appreciate this operator. If you don't believe me, look at Pro League. It's the second most banned attacker of all time. That's not a lie. You can look up the statistics. Last year she was banned like 97% of games. The year before that she was banned 90% of games. Absolutely insane. Anyways, like I said, there's only 4 operators in this entire game that have frag grenades. She is one of them. That makes her extremely valued. Her gun is very easy to use with a 1.5 times scope and a suppressor. This thing can be an absolute monster when you're sneaking around trying to get kills. Now, if you play her correctly, she can be even better. Most people just walk in backside, they use their scammer to dodge all the cameras and Valkyrie cameras, and then they hit a goon mine and die to the people who are just sitting on the staircase. Normally, you don't want to do this. What you want to do is you want to wait until the last minute 30 or minute of the round, and then you push wherever the defenders aren't looking. So you let your team establish an entire push on one side of the map, and then you, as the knock, once all the defender heads are turned one way, push behind them and surprise them. Another thing you should also be doing as knock is whenever you sneak and you get a kill on somebody, you should immediately leave and sneak somewhere else. You should never just continue going wherever you get a kill, because then you lose the element of surprise, which is what makes her so good. Also, something I recommend you don't do is put a suppressor on her deagle. If you have a suppressor on her primary, you're using it to get the element of surprise, but if you're using her deagle, that means you've already run out of your ammo on your primary gun, which means you're shooting people, which means they probably know where you are anyways, so there's no reason to have the element of surprise on your deagle. Just put the muzzle brake on it. It'll make it easier for gunfights when you run out of ammo in your primary gun. That being said, Nook is an operator that's very good, even if you aren't sneaking back sight and getting 3Ks or aces are really flashy kills. The reliability of having frag grenades, the reliability of being able to dodge cameras in an information/gun skill meta is very, very important. The reliability of being able to counteract the crouch nerf, which happened. They increased crouch noise by 20%, so she completely negates this. The ability to rotate whenever you're in a gunfight to another area without the defenders knowing is very powerful. And you get to wear a bag on your head, or you get to wear a mop on your head. Whatever you want to do. She's pretty cool and pretty cool looking, so you know, pick her up. And then coming into my number 1 should surprise absolutely nobody is going to be Yana. Yana has been at the number 1 of everybody's fragger top 5 since she got the Gon 6, and it's going to stay like that forever. Even though they took away her Gon 6 and they took away the 1.5 on her main weapon, she's still amazing because, again, one of the only operators in the game that has frag grenades. She has a 1.5 on a G36C with absolute 0 recoil and an extended barrel to buff her damage. She has infinite droning, and because she has infinite droning, that means she brings a lot of information, and because of those grenades, she brings explosives. Information and explosives are the 2 things that make really good solo queue operators. Not only is she a good solo queue operator, but because she has one of the best attacker weapons on the game, aka the ARX or the G36C if you're good at it, she's a really, really good fragger, right? So she is very versatile, she's very powerful, and her ability is super easy to use. You just click a button and you run around and you gain information. Not only do you gain information, but because you're not on a drone and you're actually in the POV of a person, you can clear out things a lot faster because you can sprint, right? Or you can look in multiple corners instead of having to drone out those multiple corners. So it's really, really fast. You can speed up the pace of the roam clear. You can overall just do a lot. She has a very high skill ceiling. She brings so much utility, and Yana is just one of the best attacking operators in the game, especially if you want to frag out, because you have the explosives and the information to back up your gun skill if the need be. That being said, that's pretty much it for today's video. I upload educational Siege content 4 times a week. If you like this style of video, like the video down below, sub to the channel again. My name is Alka, and I will see y'all in the next video. Later.